This podcast may contain views and opinions which are those of the hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any local agency, organization, union, employee, or company, including the podcast.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Clock Shop Talk. We all made it in on a Sunday. Obviously, some guys got some beers. Welcome back, Mr. Porus. Poros.
This is why nobody likes you, John. You can't say their name right.
Not pulling any punches right from the start. Nobody
Sabas
likes
Poras
you.
is back, everybody. Obviously, we have a guest,
Gary Brockett.
Nice to have you on. Welcome back to the show. Obviously, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate every week. I know we say it, but we appreciate you guys tuning in and getting the views up and sharing, especially. You know, this podcast really is done by word of mouth, so we appreciate you guys sharing wherever you are. I hope a bunch of the CVS guys watch. We promise to make the show not only about UPS, so we want to kind of hold to that, and here you are, right?
And all you CVS guys out there, hit the like and smash the subscribe button
smash
right
the
now.
like
Smash the like button.
and subscribe, definitely. So let's get into it. A little bit about Gary. Gary, what's going on, man? Nice to meet
Nothing
you.
much. Good to be here. I'm glad to be the first guest in the permanent spot.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
So
you.
where do you
Thank
come from? How long you been there? What do you do?
So I work for CVS Health in the warehouse distribution. I've been a steward over there for about, about 7 years now.
Okay.
Been through both administrations as a steward. So
All right. Well, we'll definitely get into that
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, we'll get into
You
that.
and me
We'll
both.
get into
You
that.
and me both.
there's some interesting stories there, but I mean, I've been there for almost 11 years now.
Oh, nice.
And
Congrats.
steward for 7. So,
Awesome.
Wow, you were a steward for a majority of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So what made you get into being a steward?
Yeah, I'm second generation Teamster. My father
There
was
you
a
go.
Teamster for 25 years.
Out of what craft was he out of?
Aerospace.
Okay.
For Raytheon.
Oh, nice.
So, well, I mean, the company switched multiple times. It went from Endyne, Raytheon, ITT, throughout his years. But that's always been like a thing, I grew up in a Teamster household. My
Yeah.
dad never shopped at Walmart.
The devil.
Always.
The devil.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't shop at Walmart.
There you go.
I mean, I kind of took
Stay
on
away
his
from,
legacy.
from Amazon for right now too, right? I mean, they're working on
Yeah.
it. They're working
Yeah.
on it. You need to support those guys.
Yeah, hopefully Amazon gets there.
So what was that like? Me personally, look, my dad was a union guy for a while. He worked at McDonnell Douglas, but it wasn't a big topic. And I know a lot of people that grow up in those households that are strong union households. They got some stories. So what was that like growing up with being a second generation Teamster? Did you hear stories at the dinner table and that kind of stuff? Or?
Yeah, I heard it a lot. During their local election times, I'd hear my dad talk about the politics and all that. I mean, other than that,
Worst part about the union.
yeah, it does suck when the politics season hits. It can be pretty nasty. But yeah, I mean, I would hear the stories. Guys showing up to work with a Walmart bag or something. And
shit.
they were pretty rough out there. I mean, I guess it was a different time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nowadays,
I wish it was that time still.
Me too, absolutely. But
I agree.
nowadays you can't really get away with it. But yeah, I mean, luckily, the way my dad's shop was set up was you could choose to be union or you could be non-union.
Oh, really?
The non-union guys were always getting laid off. My dad maintained his spot, for 25 years.
So you saw the benefits young.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And my dad was always in my ear about it too. And as soon as I got old enough to start getting into the workforce or get into a serious quote unquote, quote unquote, no, it's all right. It's all right.
You guys are
So, I didn't mean to interrupt.
in the middle of the show, dude.
Well,
Try not to interrupt.
yeah, try not to interrupt, brother. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. But once I got into the workforce, that was my main objective is, to find something that was union.
Nice.
So-
nice. Well, that's good to hear. A little bit, just what do you do at CVS? Or
Right
what
now-
have you done? Like your jobs there?
I've done almost every job in the warehouse. I mean, right now, currently, I'm doing a forklift operation. So, I mean, it's pretty easy work, I think. We're held to a time standard, but, basically, I'm just putting pallets away all night, replenishments. There's a bunch of different departments within the warehouse, that the forklift operators mainly cater to. I would probably say all of them, actually.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
And I know, so, obviously I can't relate completely, but, being a shop steward at UPS is a little bit different, right? We kind of represent a certain area. You guys, is it the same? Are you like the shop steward for, obviously you're the shop steward for everybody, right? But do you like represent like the forklift drivers for the most part, or how does that work?
We represent the whole warehouse. I mean, we on my shift, which I work the night shift, second shift, we got 5 guys, 5 stewards.
Okay.
And who are those guys?
So myself, Anthony Chavez, Josh Peterson, Keith Barton, and Alex Ramirez.
And that's the night shift. So obviously we've talked about having Job on the show, and so he's on a different shift then.
Yeah,
We talked
Job
about
Job
Alex
is.
Ramirez on the show too.
Okay.
Yeah, Job's on first shift.
Okay.
Okay.
So
what are the hours you work?
I work 5 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. and then usually if it's overtime, which typically it is 3:30 a.m.
So do you got to go to work tonight, Sunday, or?
No, I go in on Monday.
Oh, okay.
Monday night.
So you work into Saturday.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What are the issues of going into a fresh new day with overtime? Do you guys come across that often or no?
As in like
As in they won't pay you overtime because it's technically a new day. I know we've mentioned this before, I think on the previous episode. So
okay, yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. No, we get paid the overtime. So past our
I've
8th
just
hour.
heard
it's
so
always-
many like fucking horror stories about people that work that one shift that transitions into a new day, and the company's like, nope, new day, same rate. Like,
But I think in California though, if it's a consecutive, you're working those consecutive hours. You know what I mean? I believe after 8 you have to get paid double time, or excuse me, time and a half.
way to go, California!
Right?
Finally got something right.
Do you have something to say over there, Mr. Porras?
Go fuck yourself, John.
What's new?
Yeah.
Just keeping it family friendly.
Yeah,
so.
family friendly.
It's all right.
Great. Now the kids can't watch. Fucking asshole.
When I release it, I release it as explicit because we are vulgar on here and we swear a lot.
Savas does.
Yeah,
Asshole.
he's a fucking
Yeah.
he's a fucking scumbag.
Oh man.
Yeah, welcome to the show, bro.
we talk
Hey,
about
I'm
this shit
for
here.
it.
Yeah.
I love it.
We're off the clock, you know.
Yeah, we were definitely off the clock. Let's get into it. What was the transition like? So what were the issues before? What would you say there was issues? And I will be, I guess honest about it. We're not here to talk shit, right? That's just, it is what it is. There was an old administration. There's a new one now. So I'm curious as to the differences.
Man, where do I start with this? I mean,
Well, maybe you could start by, I think, because I remember you're one of the first CVS guys that I met when Emerson was here at the time, and he was the business agent.
yeah.
And I remember meeting you, and I seen that you were involved from like right away. Like you were here at the meetings, and I know that you did work under the old administration, and I know there's a lot to tell, right? Like you said, where does it start? So I mean, let's talk about one maybe particular issue that you can recall that is totally different from, what the old administration did versus what is going on now.
Okay. Well, I mean, right now, right now the culture at CVS, at least in the warehouse, it's completely different. I mean, it's getting there slowly, but it's happening. I mean, more members are getting involved. If we want to take it back and rewind a little bit, before the new guys were in, it was a free-for-all. I mean, management was, taking advantage of the employees. And as a steward under the old guys, it was hard for us to file grievances. I mean, it was just a rough time.
So real no support from the top.
Yeah, and I think that for the members at that time, they completely lost faith in the union. And I believe that stigma is still there a little bit, but they do notice the change now.
Yeah.
As of right now, I mean, the stewards, we have the power on the floor. I mean, that's how it should be, and the members are starting to see that.
That's good.
One member at a time, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
One
you
member
know,
at a time.
that's why we started the show. We talk about it all the time, right?
Yeah.
But we want to see the culture change within UPS because it is. I tell UPSers, and I'm not afraid to say it, our culture at UPS is shit.
Dog shit.
It is. We aren't involved. We fucking don't vote. You know what I mean?
Everyone cares about themselves. They don't care about the rest of the workforce.
And I don't know that that's because, to be honest, we have the best contract. Out I mean, I hear the stories from
The different
other,
barns.
Yeah, different barns, even from other carriers, right? We have the best. We're paid the highest. And I don't know that's the issue, but it's something that we really want to change, right? And we've implemented some stuff, this being one of them, to just kind of change that. You know what I mean? I've been preaching since I got in, really, let's change the culture. Let's change the culture. We need to be more involved. I mean, in our local, UPS we're the biggest craft, right? Mm-hmm. We have the most members, but we don't show it. And it's sad, and it's just something that myself, Sawas, George, we've all kind of taken on just to change that from one member at a time, just like Sawas says. Yep. What things did you do, or what do you think kind of changed your culture there?
It starts with the stewards on the floor, I believe. I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, that's the way I see it. If you have strong stewards that know that they have a strong local backing them, it's a done deal. I mean, it's good for the stewards to be able to walk around on the shop floor and handle issues on the floor, having the full confidence that if you file a grievance, it's going to be heard and that it's going to be addressed. And the members, they see that. When they see the stewards actually being active and engaging with the employees or the members, people are going to catch on to it eventually. And I can assure you over at CVS, it's definitely catching on pretty well.
So we had Sprinkle, who represents the drivers, to kind of give us one issue or an incident that happened. Is there something that, with that said, that there was a grievance or a violation that the company was doing per the contract that you were able to come in there and be like, no, this is not going to happen, and then you had the backing of this administration when they came in? Can you give us any type of example like that? That you know?
Of the new guys.
Yeah, of the new guys,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I mean, when we first negotiated our contract under the new guys, we got a solid deal. I mean, our contract's pretty solid. I think it's probably one of the best warehouse contracts. Company, they were used to their own ways for 20 years, whatever it was, 20, 30, whatever, however many years. I believe the first big issue we had was use of our sick days.
Okay.
So we had some contract language in there that, specifically says that, you could leave. I mean, I feel like it's kind of petty, but it's kind of a funny story. But
tell it, brother. Yeah, tell it.
Let's hear it. We had an issue where an employee, was using his sick time, and he would literally use his sick time, the last 10 minutes of the night, like on his 8th hour. Like he'd be like, he would be using it like 5, maybe 10 minutes before his 8th hour clock out.
So wait, clarification. So what do you mean he was using his sick time?
So your sick hours, right? You say you have like 10 sick hours.
Okay.
And you're coming up on your 8th hour. Well, if you want to go home early, there was a guy using it for like 15 minutes before his 8th hour.
Okay, really quick. So you have a collective like 10 hours that per week? What is the
Well, no. You have like a total set amount of hours
you accumulate or
that you've accumulated, and you can use it specifically. Like you can leave at lunch and use 4 hours.
Really?
Wow.
Okay.
So you could leave throughout the day?
Yeah.
And what do you have to say? Hey, I'm sick.
Yeah.
Or,
I mean, yeah. You just we have these forms
what
called.
happens for days when you're completely sick and you have the flu? You can't come in at all.
Oh, you can just call in and you could use your sick time.
But you could just go home.
Yeah.
That's weird. So I mean,
that's
at UPS, we can't do that.
Yeah.
We gotta.
That's interesting.
It has to be a whole day.
It has to be a whole day.
We can come off the truck, but at that point, you have hours clocked in, so they can't even put in a sick day.
Yeah.
So if you have hours paid, they can't do both. So if you get sick on the truck, you're not using any hours.
Yeah, they pay you fucking for time work,
Yeah,
right?
for the time work.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that's something totally different.
Back to your story. Sorry.
So yeah, no. So I mean, there was this employee that was doing that, and they ended up not paying him one time. So we ended up filing a grievance on it. We won the grievance. After that, though, we kind of had to settle with the company because I mean that it is kind of petty in a sense. You're leaving your 10 minutes before your 8th hour.
Yeah.
Using sick time,
like
and you're using 10 minutes of your sick time.
It's like we know what you're doing, dude.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that was my first taste of the new administration. Like we we ended up winning that grievance.
Uh-huh.
Actually, we've won almost all of our grievances that we filed. I mean, I know Sprinkle, the driver, you know, they're winning arbitrations. They've won all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty solid. I mean, so that was, I guess, my first experience, and then hearing about the drivers, and then at that point, I mean, the stewards. I mean, we were running the show at CVS for sure, on the floor. So
That's awesome.
And
That's great.
and who's the business agent?
James Lopez.
James Lopez. What's
There you
up,
go.
James?
Shout out to James.
Yeah.
James.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, actually.
Yeah,
It's
happy
James'
birthday.
birthday today.
Yeah.
Oh, it
Happy
is?
birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Belated birthday.
He's
It's
19.
He's 19.
Yeah,
He
this will
did-
be when this comes out. It'll be 5 days later, but today
Yeah.
is when we're shooting this. Is
His
James'
new
birthday.
nickname is Skinny. We call him Skinny now.
Dude, he's
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
solid.
Yeah.
man.
I saw him the other day, actually. He stopped by CVS. He's looking like a GQ model.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
right.
Wearing like polo.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what we told. I was
Yeah.
like,
He dresses
hey,
really
dude,
sharp.
you look
Yeah.
clean.
He dresses really
All
sharp.
of a
And he
sudden,
goes,
like,
all of
oh,
a
what, I
sudden-
look like
Not
shit
hobos
before?
like us.
I was like, no, dude, you just look good.
So that your business agent, obviously, you see more right than previously.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and to throw some, credit out to Emerson too. I know he's not here anymore, but well, he went to a different local. Sorry, don't take that the wrong
Yeah,
way. But
He was a little firecracker, wasn't he?
yeah, no,
Emerson's a good dude, man.
and-
That guy,
yeah.
Shout out to Emerson too.
Yeah.
He was
And I give it to Emerson because he came in under our new contract, and the company just had to buckle down and get with the program, and they just weren't doing it. And Emerson was right there, putting
Fighting
it
for
out
you
there,
guys.
fighting for it.
That's right.
And then that's when James Lopez came in. As soon as James Lopez came in, I think the company really just kind of gave up at that point,
Yeah.
You had Emerson beat him up for a while.
Yeah.
And then we had James come in, and,
Clean house.
James is good. I mean, he's a smart guy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. I mean, he's definitely educating the stewards over at CVS.
That's
and,
right.
Yeah.
You know.
And I can say I myself have done a few walkthroughs in CBS,
Yeah.
which was great. Got to
Yeah.
meet a lot of you guys out of there. And I think the culture, from my view, has changed from what I've heard, right? It's great when you can call your business agent and say, hey, there's something going on over here. And not only the business agent shows up, but you have business agents at 952 from other crafts. Myself, John, John Green, Eric. We walked the floor over there with Sean O'Brien.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yep.
The general president, we walked through there. And I think that's what the company's seeing now. Like you said, they're like, shit, we got to get on board now.
Yeah.
It's to the point now where management's walking up to the stewards, the whole OCTA, the strikes happening, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, they're coming up to the stewards and asking for information. I mean, which is kind of good. It means that they're aware that, hey, we're not messing around anymore.
Yeah.
And even though it's OCTA, transportation is a whole different, ball game. It could potentially affect, people at CVS or Albertsons, the grocery.
I know we haven't really, mentioned any names, but honestly, I think that's something that Eric Jimenez really is. He's a fighter. You know what I mean? He's ready to take on companies. He's ready to do the job, honestly. Look, I know, 3 years ago, and he says it all the time, 3 years ago, he was on the truck, so he understands what we're going through. And same thing with myself and Salas. We're new. Obviously George is still on the truck, but just watching that and having that as leadership is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the biggest concern in there? What do you see that the company violates in your contract? What do you deal with the most in there?
Usually, I mean, as of right now, it's mainly seniority moves. I mean,
As far as like bidding for shifts or overtime or
not necessarily that, just like moving certain employees to certain departments.
so more of a preferred job then?
Yeah,
Somebody
more
wants
like
to-
the preferred jobs.
Okay.
I mean, to be honest, I mean, right now over at CVS, it's pretty smooth. I mean, I haven't had to file a grievance in a while.
Wow.
I mean,
that's good.
I mean, it's good, and it's good when we don't have to file a grievance. Usually the shop stewards, we're handling a lot of the issues on the floor now with management directly, which is good. But yeah, on a day-to-day basis, I mean, I'm mainly, sometimes a manager or supervisor will make the wrong move as far as seniority goes. Like if I'm the top senior guy, and I want to go do some off-standard work, like in the pallet corner, moving pallets, just cleaning all day. They'll put a lower seniority employee over there instead of myself.
Yeah.
And usually that's mainly what we're dealing with.
Do you guys bid like, hey, this opening's coming up in the forklift department, and you guys bid that job, or does stuff change like every day? Like you're like, I don't feel like doing this today, or?
Well, we bid jobs. I mean, we have to bid jobs. We don't do like a once a year bid, like a rebid. Like I believe Albertsons does that once a year. I could be wrong, but I know they have to rebid. As far as we go at CVS, we just bid once and we're in that department for good until we want to bid out. Usually, if there's no work in that department, they'll pull the top senior guys, or they'll go down the list and ask if they want to go do something else. Like a preferred job, or go to another department. Whatever it may be.
Interesting. Yeah.
So when they do violate the seniority, what do you ask for? The time, monetary wise, of that grievance?
Well, if they violate seniority, usually we'll try to get to it on the floor, like right away. Usually the employee will.
Are certain jobs paid at a higher rate? Or do you have one rate?
Yeah. No, certain jobs you get at certain premiums.
Okay.
The forklift department gets a premium.
Because you're certified.
Certified.
You're certified.
So to Savis's point, like if you wanted to do the forklift job and they screwed you over and you had a seniority violation, there would be some monetary loss there, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But usually, like if they make the wrong move right then and there, we try to handle it in real time, I guess.
Yeah.
And go straight, to management right off the bat, because I mean, at least in a warehouse setting, there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be on it, and they're going to be like, oh, hey, why's this guy over here and not me? And then they usually bring it to us, and we usually handle it on the floor. We haven't had a seniority grievance in a very long time.
Oh, that's crazy. We had a shit HR for a little while. We got a little bit better one now, but there was seniority violations left and right at UPS. I mean, we
don't have an HR anymore.
Fucking crazy. Well, actually, believe it or not, the girl that's there now is a lot better.
Yeah.
We had a guy there. I won't say his name, but we had a guy there that was fucking everything up.
You know who you
I
are.
mean, yeah, you know who you are. You fucking. Anyways.
So so since you work like on the floor, what is it like when obviously you have to like kind of like teeter around like the management? What is that tension like? Let's say like if you guys have like butt heads, or there's issues like for past grievances. What is it like just being in that workspace?
We used to butt heads a lot with management. I mean, we still do, but I think especially at the start of our new contract, we got a lot of stuff done. We literally got seniority language in our contract, just this contract, like, the past couple of years. So, at the beginning, we're definitely butting heads. I mean, shop steward, there's a steward that got fired. I've been suspended. I mean, there's just been some verbal altercations. Typically, I think that was mainly at the beginning of our new contract and before the new administration. I mean, we were always butting heads, but we didn't really have any contract language.
But what is the workspace like though after you guys have those like arguments? Well, when you're on the floor,
Is there tension?
is there tension like throughout the day?
Maybe.
For us, it's like we have like we do our union work in the morning. We go talk to the boss, and we have all the grievances done. Sometimes, conversations get heated, but we get to go, take off, like deliver packages all day. So that we kind of wipe our hands at for the time being until we come back into the office. So what is it like just being in that space where there's all this tension?
I mean, as of right now, I mean, if we get in a verbal altercation, I mean, the stewards, we all got backbones, so it's like we get into that verbal altercation and that's it. It is what it is, and then we move on with our day. I think maybe some of the supervisors might hold a grudge against us. Well, I know that for sure, especially with me,
I haven't worked a job like that, like inside a building where I just stay in the building all day for so long. I've forgotten what it's like.
Like I said, like right now, I mean, I think if something like that were to happen, it's usually we keep it in the office or wherever it happened, and then that's it.
Just not let it affect the workspace.
We move on with it.
You guys motherfuck each other?
Yeah, basically.
Well, there's 5 stewards in that shift, and how many members would you say are on that shift?
Probably a little over 500
Okay,
per shift.
that's pretty.
Yeah.
That's 5 stewards for 500. That's pretty good.
It's pretty significant.
Yeah.
We love what we do, you know, and we represent the members, and you know they've seen us in altercations. I mean, I think that's another thing too. Like, you get the members that see a steward going at it with management. I mean, they're gonna be like, damn,
Put a little respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna show a little respect for that, and they're gonna see that, hey, like these guys are that confident, especially if you have a local that's gonna represent the steward and have your back 100%.
I have a question. What kind of steward would you consider yourself? Because I know everyone has their own style. Look, as a steward, when I first came into being a steward, I actually, it was our first meeting, right? Savas was training me because that was his job, right? And we go into a meeting, and he's, it's getting a little heated, and Savas starts motherfucking the manager, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, all right, well, we're motherfucking my manager. Cool. So we get out of the meeting, and I tell Savas, I didn't know you could do that.
He's like, aren't you going to get in trouble?
Yeah, and I think what it is, and this is across the board with every steward in every barn, you have to let management know that in your role as a steward, you're at the same level as they are, right? They have to respect you in that position that you have, and if they're going to talk down to you, you're not going to put up with that, Yeah. So you're on the same level, and that's what I've tried to tell all the stewards. When you speak to management, you're on the same level as they are. And we've had one manager at first was like, oh, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Yeah. Well, guess what? He's on board now.
Yeah.
There had to be some things that happen. But gaining that respect is all because we have an administration that's going to stand behind us. From the steward to the business agent, and then when things don't go well, call Eric or you call James or whoever, and everybody shows up. And to me, that's what I've seen is different than it was before.
So back to my question: what kind of steward would you consider yourself? Do you go in there right away and start fucking banging heads, or you let them set the tone?
Kick the door down.
Yeah, because there's different stewards everywhere.
I say I've changed a little bit. I mean, James has been giving me a lot of knowledge, my business agent.
Yeah.
At first, I mean, we're kicking down doors, yelling at each other, cussing each other out. That's the steward and management.
Yeah.
I still get like that a little bit, but I think there's a fine line now where you want management to also respect a steward in a sense. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you have to show management respect as well. It's a two-way street. You know what I mean?
It's a two-way street for sure.
And the way it's molded now, I think, with a lot of us stewards over at CVS is we all used to be like that because we lived through those years of no support, whatever.
Yeah, you kind of feel like you're on your own and you gotta fucking.
I mean, I don't want to talk trash. I'm trying to choose my words.
I will tell you. Look, if you have, we've kind of taken the position that it is what it is. The old administration's gone. I'm not really worried about them. But hey, stories. You promised us some stories, so
I know. I definitely got some stories, and we'll get into them.
But in context, if they're somewhat shit talking, it is what it is, dude. I mean, those are things that we had to live through. As a part timer, so I've gone through a little bit about myself, but a part timer, I spent like 10 years in the part time, and there was no real. We didn't consider. I mean, how am I going to put this? Like, there was no knowledge being passed. I mean, it was
not even the same.
We didn't even know.
No
like,
knowledge.
We were union. Yeah, I mean, they pay our benefits and whatnot. But like, what does that mean? What does it mean to be a union member? What is it? What power do we have? What rights do we have? That just wasn't really kind of pushed out there. You know what I mean? I for the first 10 years, I don't even think I filed a grievance until I got older and started kind of getting into the steward thing, and I didn't really file a grievance until I was a driver because that wasn't a thing.
I never filed a grievance until I was a driver.
I never had anybody come to me and be like, "Oh, you need to file a grievance for that." You know what I mean? I'm like, well, what is that going to do? What is that? And obviously our process at UPS is way more bogged down, and we're working on kind of getting that to where we address things really quick.
Yeah.
But it's you're talking about when we hear Tim and he's like, oh, I had 98 grievances with the past 3 years, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. We get like 98 grievances a week.
Yeah, I mean,
I hear
some places daily.
And we got to sit on all those, and it's like there's only so much time, and then management doesn't want to meet or labor doesn't want to meet, and it's a little different. But yeah, just back to and that's the culture thing that we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
It just wasn't there for us. So I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
We're bigger and better things. That's what I actually like the slogan, that Sean, spouts, and it's bigger, faster, stronger, right? We're always, that's what we're trying to be.
Bigger, faster, stronger. We have the technology.
Yeah. Again with this, dude. Fumble.
Wow.
Yeah, fucking solid.
Well,
Back to the stewards. I mean, I think that's the way it's molded now is. I mean, we're still going to kick down a door.
Yeah.
But there's a time and place for that, and I think we've earned the respect from management, and that's why we're getting stuff done.
There you go.
I mean, they're. I mean, I can't say, dude. There's too many good things, I mean, the stewards we're getting what we want over at CVS, and I think it's showing. And like I said, when James Lopez came in, kind of showed us the way and how things are done, and still gives us knowledge, teaches all of us, and as long as the stewards are involved, I mean, we're good.
And the membership as a whole, you think they definitely see the change?
Yeah, is the morale?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, you're always going to get those unhappy people.
Yeah.
You can't please
You
everybody.
can't please everybody for sure.
of course, I just had one push me the other day. No joke.
I didn't think he was going to bring it
Someone
up.
pushed you?
Oh yeah,
A member.
a member pushed
And
me.
told me, I pay your fucking salary.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I don't have to stand here and let you be a fucking
I didn't think you were
asshole.
going to bring that up.
Yeah. Well, so anyways, yeah, it happens. You have unhappy people.
Yeah.
You're not gonna please everybody.
It's impossible. And you can't get everyone to like you, and it's just the way it is, But we got to try and help the majority of the members because they're the ones,
And even the ones that are unhappy, we still have an obligation to represent them.
Yeah.
Right. This particular incident I was talking about, management heard it and came up to me and was like, you know what? I'm going to write them up. And I was like, no, you're not. You're not going to do that. You need to stay out of this. This is union business.
It's union business, punk.
Right.
I
mean, the members should have done that out on the open floor like that.
Yeah, I'm not cool.
But I'm not gonna, we can't bring reproach as a steward or a business agent on our members, So you're gonna run into that kind of stuff. I walked away, and then he went and ran over and tried to get with John.
Yeah. He yelled at me too.
Yeah.
So whatever.
But it happens. You know? So,
I'm a little bit bigger than Salah,
get
so
you
I
some
don't think he wanted to push me.
We need to get you some rings for that hand when you're holding the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the guy in fucking
Yeah.
Channel 5 with the gigantic rings.
Yeah, but that is true. And then my stewards kind of clowned me and said, "Oh, I heard you're getting pushed around out there." Yeah, I know.
should've drop kicked
Might have to
one.
have redemption round.
I don't
Right.
know. It's all
Mark
good.
loves the truck.
He's still a member. We have to represent him.
Yeah.
I didn't take it personal. You run into those situations.
Yeah.
We police and enforce the contract, and sometimes members have a different interpretation of things. And sometimes you have to tell them, no, this is what it is, and they don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
They get upset. And I think the hardest part being a steward and even a business agent is not taking things personal. Don't take them personal.
Things get heated, and it is what it is. You're not going to, like you said, you're not going to make everybody happy. And at the end of the day, we only have the language in the contract to fall back on.
Yeah.
And that was, that was part, I don't know about for you guys, but for us, that was part of the problem. The old administration, they did a lot of side deals and stuff that was outside of the contract.
Oh, absolutely.
So when we got
Handshake
in,
deals.
the new administration got in, they were like, no, we need to fall back on contractual language. So that way we have an argument. Because a big thing was, what if a new manager comes in and doesn't want to play that game? You know what I mean? Or doesn't want to abide by that handshake deal. And then what? Then it just goes away? You know what I mean? Then do we fight? It was just, how do we fight that, right? So I think the new administration really kind of said, hey, we got to fall back on contractual language. It is what it is. Some of the stuff, to be honest, it's like the side deal might have been something cool for somebody, but somebody else was getting fucked over.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got these weird deals where, seniority was being violated and that's always what it comes down to.
Yeah.
You kind of give something. Nothing's free in this world. And that's what I tell the members. Look, when you guys make side deals, nothing's free. Someone's getting fucked over somewhere. Somebody, they're paying somehow. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it happens. We had a steward in the Laguna building in the past that was terminated. He was brought back, but part of the deal was he couldn't be a steward. When the new administration came in, they put him back as a steward. Management just flipped out and just was like, no, there's an agreement. Well, what agreement are you talking about? First of all, to bring back a member that was doing his job as a steward, to make that kind of deal is against the law. To say, oh, part of this deal, bringing him back, he can no longer be a steward. You can't do that, right? And they flipped out and they swore up and down that they had an agreement. Well, where's the agreement? Where's it at?
Yeah.
Right?
Go get your contract.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if something like that happened in CVS, with some of the stewards that were part of the old administration, where maybe they were removed or terminated, or
Have you ever been terminated?
No, I've been suspended though.
Okay, so last week we did termination stories, which were cool. Mr. Boras was off doing something. I don't know.
I was terminated.
Anyways,
okay.
I terminated him.
So you don't get fired once a week?
We actually, I would like to hear, if you're cool with it, I'd like to hear your suspension story. What was it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
so it was kind of recent, actually. It happened this year, actually, at the start, though. So it involved myself and Anthony Chavez, which is another steward.
Okay.
He won't mind if I throw his name out there, so it's all right. So we got in a confrontation with the foreman, and believe it or not, our foremans are actually dues-paying Teamsters.
Which I've heard, and I think that's just crazy that even.
It's nutty to
tough.
me. I mean, it's tough, because they're basically playing both fields in a sense, Yeah. So we got in a confrontation with this foreman, right? He's known to be, a snitch. He's always going
piece of shit.
Basically, yeah. Yeah, you know what?
You can
He's
just
a
say it.
fucking
That's
piece
fine.
of shit, dude. Yeah. Fucking piece of shit. And there was an issue where he was moving some pallets on the dock, and usually in a nutshell, we have a time standard. When we receive product and they receive it at, like, say, door 1, our time standard starts at door 1. So if you move it like 15, 20 doors down on the dock,
You're fucked up the time standard.
the time standard, the EWS is completely screwed, So anyway, they were moving these pallets, and they were moving them all the way to the end on the dock. Well, all the forklift operators, we're not going to go over there and drive because we know
It's going to fuck up your day.
It's going to fuck us up.
Yeah.
So he kept doing it. I went up to him and I said, hey, you can move it 4 doors. That's what we allow, at least 4 doors.
Yeah.
Oh, no. He's like, fuck you. He's like, you fucking shop stewards. And this is a foreman that pays union dues. He's like, fuck you, da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay, well, you know what?
Fuck
you
you.
asked for it. So I sit there. I'm calling him a rat, snitch, a piece of shit. Yeah. Anthony comes driving up on his forklift. He sees it going on, Anthony got in the mix and was like, hey, like, what's going on? We're just in a verbal altercation.
Yeah.
Apparently the whole time this guy's had his walkie-talkie on. So all of management heard both of us, right?
That's a douchey fucking move, man.
Oh, total douche.
Yeah.
Bit the bullet, whatever. We got a write-up for it. And by the way, it was the longest write-up I've ever seen because we were stewards. It was a biography. It was like 3 pages long.
They try to add everything.
Nice.
Oh,
They
yeah,
try to nail
dude.
you
But the
for it.
only thing that they didn't add was that they heard it over the radio.
That's
you
when
know?
you go, no, you got to
So
put
the
that
one
piece of
key,
information in there.
yeah, we want that information,
Right?
We
That's
ended
almost
up-
like being recorded against your will, so it's like,
Yeah.
it's not really legal. It's
And
like
to
kind of
be
a
honest,
gray
I
area.
mean, California is not a single-party consent state, and we have to tell people that sometimes. Like, no, you cannot. I do not give consent for you to record. I mean, it's different. Like if you're out in public, but if you're in a private setting, which work would be a private setting, you're in a, you cannot be recorded.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah. And I mean, it just led downhill slope. I ended up getting a suspension for that. And same with Anthony Chavez. He got a suspension. We both suffered the same fate right there. But then...
By association.
Yeah. And we ended up in the parking lot.
Uh-oh.
There was a verbal altercation between between us and management as we were leaving. Ultimately, that resulted in, Anthony being terminated. We brought him back, though. I mean, he came back. He's, we put him on an LCA, last chance agreement. We brought him back. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the crazy stories of what we have to deal with, especially with the foreman, because they do play both sides. And
honestly, that's just
horseshit,
weird.
Dude. That's so
because
weird.
As a foreman, do they have right to like discipline and stuff? Or
No,
do they have to
they
go
don't.
rat on? So they got.
They would basically go snitch. And I'm going to tell you this, the foremans, there's some cool ones. Don't get me wrong.
There's always going to be cool ones.
There's always going to be cool ones, but you can never trust them because, they got to do,
They have to
adhere to management too.
If they're being held to a standard, right, by management, and that's like their job, hey, I'm a foreman, I'm being held to this, and they have to make you do that, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you need to do this or you need to do that. Like, that's a management position. That's just
management
weird.
position.
It is.
I don't know how you could. I mean, me personally, I just don't see how you could do it and be a teamster. I mean, in our bylaws, right? You can't bring reproach on a member.
Yeah.
Like you can't.
That's crazy.
It's just weird.
It's a rough situation for us over at CVS. I don't know what other yards have it. I know there might be some out there that still have that. I mean, that language has been in the contract forever, though, since I've worked there. I mean,
and I'm sure management loves it because it pits teamsters against
for sure.
teamsters.
Pits teamsters
Oh,
against teamsters.
absolutely.
They don't have to do the dirty work themselves.
Yeah, and you see it all the
We've dealt
time
with
in the
managers
workplace.
like that, that's what they try to do. They try, you don't want to get.
Yeah, they try.
I've had management tell members that I'm helping that I'm not looking out for their best interest. I'm not going to say his name, but I was dealing with a guy that, was being just harassed like every day. And they kept telling this guy, we're going to fire you. You should. What they were telling him to do was go back to the warehouse, right? And there is no going back. He was already a driver.
You're a driver. That's
right.
it.
And they're like, we're going to fire him. I said, you're not going to fucking fire him. And then they went. He told me, he's like, they came to me and they said, look, John does not have your best interest. He's just fucking. Just going to screw you over in the end.
Yeah.
And
That's
I'm like,
fucking horrible.
really?
They're like, your business agent.
UPS would love to have that language in the contract.
Oh, they would love it.
That's fucking horseshit.
And you would always get guys to take it. I know there's members that would do it.
They'll just get afraid.
Wish they wouldn't, but
Yeah,
I know
get
there's
afraid.
members that would love to kind of have a position.
Oh, I know a few of them now. But I know a few. So when you served that suspension, what was it? What did you violate? Was it their policy, harassment?
Unprofessionalism.
Yeah, it was policy. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. Policy, harassment, basically cardinal sins. I mean,
So it was because
yeah, I mean, that's basically what it was in a nutshell. I mean,
So did you have something in your file that was the same? Like you had interactions or verbal altercation or something? Or this was the first time you just went straight to suspension?
it went straight to suspension. I mean, technically, I guess
Could file on
I
that.
could have been terminated.
Yeah.
I mean, that could have been the ultimate fate.
I mean,
but-
obviously he did it, right? He put you on the walkie, right? I mean, he was
Yeah, and-
recording you or whatever. But
Scumbag move.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that being said, I mean, if that happened, a verbal altercation between two members, I don't know how, or did you guys even discuss bringing him up on charges for the union?
Yeah, no, like writing a letter to the union
Yeah.
and, yeah.
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
Interesting.
I mean, that's
All
something
right.
and I mean, we got all the evidence still. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's
So
definitely.
he saw zero discipline, and you guys both got suspended.
Yep.
Wow.
Long story short, he's still out on the floor doing his thing,
Moving fucking
snitch-
pallets
Fucking
to the
scans.
fucking up
Yeah.
everybody's
Oh yeah, dude,
standards.
moving pallets to
So
the
like
end.
he was just completely doing that intentionally to fuck with you,
Oh yeah.
and
That-
then as a result you got suspended because you
yeah,
kind of lost
and
your cool.
there's certain foremans over at CVS that take it out on the stewards, all the time. They walk around with their walkie-talkie, like they're like their fucking management.
That's just weird to me.
I know.
And yet,
I don't get it,
and
dude.
yet
I don't
they're
get it.
paying union dues and getting all the benefits, but yet they're walking around like, oh, buddy with management.
I'd get rid of that fucking
Yeah.
language. That's fucking garbage.
yeah,
That's a
Oh,
dog.
it's-
That's dog shit.
It's bad language. I mean,
That's
we
bad.
definitely want that out
needs
in
to-
our
that
next.
needs to come out
our
for
next.
sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think we want to push that.
I mean, we have, and it's not the same, but and George is actually on the safety committee. I was on the safety committee, and for the long time, management kind of used the safety committee as their little, just kind of do what they wanted to do. They are
They
the
got to
ones that
manipulate that.
put people in there. Shout out, Nick Bruno. I got to give it to him. When he came in, he was like, no, per the contract, that's our safety committee, and I can add or remove anybody I want to. So at the end of the day, this needs to be our team, right? Because really, when you look at it, a safety committee is there for the members. The management has to adhere to certain numbers and do what they have to do, and all they're worried about is saving the insurance claim, right? That they're always.
Yeah.
I mean, they were fucking around with people like they would have. Safety members go to a member that was injured and be like, "Oh, you just want to go home, right? You're good. You don't need to go to the clinic, right?" Like they would have do that shit. You know what I mean? And when I got into the safety committee and I was on the safety committee for like 7 years, I'm like, no, I don't fucking. That's not me. You know what I mean? And Nick is the one who put me in.
Yeah.
Or actually, excuse me, I was in there and Nick kind of came in and kind of explained it, but it was right up my alley. I was like, yeah, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm not going to talk to drivers, trying to. Tell them they need to do certain things. That's not my job.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting change. That was one of the big culture changes as far as the safety committee goes. But it's kind of along that same vein. It's like, you can't give somebody power to either discipline or, because that's like, how are you're bringing reproach on another member? I just don't,
Nope.
I don't get it. But
Yeah.
hey, fuck,
It's-
what are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean the language is there. We got to deal with it at least till 2025.
Yeah.
So
So termination story, Sawas. You didn't get to do yours last week because I fired you. I got your job back too, though. So
Okay, sweet. But I never got terminated.
You've never been terminated?
Never been terminated.
Oh, you're right.
No,
I told you last week.
I could tell you they
Never been
wanted
fired,
to terminate
John.
me for sure.
Never been fired.
Never been fired.
Oh,
Never been fired. I honestly never served a suspension in the 20 plus years I was there.
Wow.
No suspension. No
No
nothing, huh?
suspensions.
Company man or
Oh, you said, yeah. You sound like the guy that pushed me the other
What's
day.
going on here?
No, I believe me, and
You a fucking double agent?
the reason why I brought that up. The reason why I brought that up is, there was plenty of times as a steward, and even when I was not a steward, that I would motherfuck management, cuss them out, but never was terminated for it. So that was surprising to me that right away you went straight to suspension. I don't have a termination story. I was never terminated. I know the company wanted to terminate me. I just never got into any progressive discipline. I was that guy that was always at work an hour before, and it wasn't for the company or to work off the clock. That was just me. I wanted to be ready for the day. I would talk to the preloaders, the part-timers, try to help them, because they set up my day, so no termination stories.
All right.
All right.
That's nice.
I've only gone as far as suspension. So I mean,
Okay. Well, we went through ours.
We went through
yesterday,
ours
or
last week.
Excuse me.
And I was fired twice.
Scumbag.
I was fired once for 5 minutes.
For 5 minutes.
Yeah,
He had a
5
5-minute
minutes.
termination.
damn, 5 minutes, huh?
Yeah, I mean, just
To be
real
honest, that was
quick,
really just them throwing their weight around to let
I
you
got
know
fired.
that we control your job.
I walked literally from the preload. If you know Anaheim, I walked from the preload office to the bay door, and then fucking Phil, I hear him yelling at me, "Atlet, get back here!" I fucking gave him my ID. I said, "I'm gone. Bye. Fuck you. I didn't care."
It would have been an unjust termination, and he knew it.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
knew
it
it.
would have. That's why they went and got you.
Right.
So,
Trying to
But,
avoid this paperwork.
but yeah, I mean, anything else? Any other stories you got before?
So funny thing is we got some stewards that they were for the old guys, but they're they're on board with Eric. I mean, they're pretty solid guys. I mean, they're doing their thing.
What was that transition like? I mean, I get it, and everybody has the right to support who they want to, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I mean, but how was that for them? Because I'm sure there must have been some.
Hurt feelings?
You know, there was a guy that did step down. he no longer wanted to be a steward, but the rest of the guys actually stayed. You know, they're you know, you vote for who you vote for. You know, but at the end of the day, we're all Teamsters. So I mean, it's.
Yeah, we can't push that hard enough on this show. We always say that. Like after the election's done, like now we all have to be on the same page and just move forward. You know?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
If they fail, I mean, if the administration fails, we fail.
Yeah.
That's why, you know, after the vote's done, it is what it is. And, you know, we're not trying to see us fail. I mean, that's not the point.
Yeah, and I think, you know, some of those stewards, you know, the transition, it seemed pretty easy. I mean, you know, it is what it is.
That's good to hear.
The first
honestly.
time, you know, when Eric came in, you know, they got on board with it. You know, they transitioned. They're like, all right, well, you know, the politics season is over. Now what are we going to do to go forward?
That's good to hear.
That's great.
Had
That's
some
really
that didn't take that position.
Not at all.
Sure.
Yeah, you know, it's rough. It kind of sucks in a way because it's like you might know the guy, you know, and it's like just because like he wants to vote for, you know, whatever side he wants to vote for, and I want to vote for this other side. I mean,
and all of a sudden you guys are enemies for no reason.
Exactly, and it's like
politics kind of suck that way.
Yeah, I mean, and that's always going to be the rough part of the Teamsters, you know, and it's just something, you know, we have to live with, I guess.
So that the first time when Eric ran and these guys that supported the other side, and then they got on board after, and then the second time, this election we just had, did they support or were they still supporting the other side?
Oh no, they're supporting Eric. 100%.
Oh, okay.
Oh wow.
So that's
they're on board now.
Yeah.
They're on board.
They
I
see
mean,
the
you walk into
changes.
CVS and people are wearing green shirts all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, the drivers. I mean, you see them do it all the time.
Yeah.
When I work out of the yard, sometimes you'll see it on their truck or whatever.
You know the one thing I seen was we met up one day, and you guys have your little bar over there down the street. And
Gardens.
I walk in there.
That's the watering hole.
And it's actually right next to CVS and the Albertsons Brea, right? I walk in there and they have this huge Teamsters 952.
Oh, really?
In there, in this bar.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so you get guys from CVS that go there, and then you got the guys down the street from Albertsons. Speaking of which, we never really spoke to the Albertsons guys, you know? Like, we were always disconnected. And,
You were right down the street.
And we're right down the street. And now it's like, dude, we all communicate. I mean, it's cool.
You go to the same
like
bar.
We know all the Albertsons guys. You know, they're always coming to help us out,
Yeah.
vice versa. Like I said, I mean, the transition was easy. Those guys are on board. But as far as, like, some funny stories under the old guys, I mean, the one that sticks out in my head the most, and I'll never forget, is as a steward under the old guys, we were filing grievances. I mean, basically, we weren't filing on anything because our contract language was it was bad. It was a dumpster fire of a contract. You know, never had steward language, we had seniority language, but it only applied to vacations, not even like moves within the warehouse. So I would file my grievances, you know, and we all know how that ends, you know, like they weren't being heard, whatever. So it got to the point where I was literally using my own money to certify mail my grievances to 952.
Really?
To make them legally binding. So when I had a tracking number on there, I knew that it got delivered and was signed for. So if I ever needed to take it to the labor board,
Wow.
I mean, that's how bad
That's
it was.
that's a lot of extra work
Honestly,
for something
that's
that
fucking
shouldn't.
sad.
That's fucking crazy.
It's sad, and I try not to bash, you know, but it's just so frustrating.
That's a real thing you had to do. You had to take time out of your day, go to the
spend your
post
own
office,
money.
spend
And
your
that-
hard-earned money to do that.
And
when
that is like
technically-
what members don't see most of the time with the steward is when, you know, especially at that time,
the extra work.
you know, I'd show up to the hall to try to talk to the business agent. They wouldn't even let me in the hall because they knew I was on the other side. Like, I'm sitting there trying to work
That's
with these guys.
horseshit.
Dude, it's bad.
Wow.
No
That's not
seniority,
even cool.
management, free for all. I mean, you had part-timers doing cush jobs, and you had full-timers doing, like, you know, the grunt work,
Grunt
basically.
work, yeah.
I mean, we had, like, 25-year guys doing grunt work, but then you have, like, Joe Schmo that's only been here 6 months, just hanging out in the corner, like, ripping up boxes or doing whatever.
the juicy shit.
Yeah, you know, and that is one of the stories that sticks out in my mind and it still amazes me to this day.
That's
that
rough.
it had gotten to that point, and I believe I should have brought them in and show you guys. I think I still have the receipts for those. Someone was getting my certified grievances, so it got to the point where the business agent at the time will call me and tell me straight up, stop fucking sending your grievances through certified mail. Like straight up will call me and straight up say, stop fucking sending your certified grievances.
We'll bleep it out, but who is that?
Who was it?
It was I don't know.
This will be all bleeped out.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, it was those two guys. So I mean, it was bad, and you know, we would try to show up to the hall to try to get something done. You know, we had pending terminations at the time. None of these guys wanted to hear it. You know, and I'm diming them all out, but you know what? I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I mean, that's where I came from, and that's what I saw, especially coming from a union background with my father. When I first started in 2011, and just to throw it in there, I've been with Eric since he first started. Not trying to sound like the OG here, but no, you know, like when I first started at CVS, and I knew it was Teamster, and I knew where my dad was coming from. It was just a dog and pony show. Is basically what it was at that time.
Did you ever discuss with your dad like what was going on?
Oh yeah, and he would just.
I'm sure he was disgusted.
Oh, he was, you know, and he's like, dude, you guys need to get him out.
That is so hard. It's so sad to hear that. Like, for one, they wouldn't let you in the hall because you're the opposition.
Oh yeah.
The hall is that is like the safe place for either side, you know. And the fact that it was so divided, you know, like, because we're supposed to be a brotherhood, and that's the complete opposite of that.
Yeah,
you know, it's like
it's sad. I mean,
fucking ridiculous.
It was hard for us to file grievances under the old contract. I mean, any of the subsections that we had, I mean, it was so gray, and
so
like
it really
the
started with a better contract. Is where the change started taking place.
Absolutely, and you know, Eric made the promise when he won the first time. He made the promise, you know, like, hey, like, he knew how bad CVS was, you know, and he'd been campaigning there for, you know, previously before too, you know, since I think 2011, 12. He knew what was going on there. I mean, he would see women coming out crying, and you know, he'd see all of that. You know, Eric made that promise that he would change CVS, and that's exactly what he did. I mean, he held up to his promise, and we got a hell of a contract, and
the rest is history, right?
Yeah, the rest is history. I mean, we've been pretty smooth over there. I mean, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
That's good to hear, man.
That's great to hear. It's great to hear that things are moving up.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, you know, coming to the hall, like you were saying, I do have a story that when we had our general membership when we had our general membership meeting on Wednesdays, you know, it was.
Oh, those were bad at the time too, though.
I would come, and there was this one particular incident that happened that I came in and I said something at the meeting, right?
Like a man. That's weird.
You know, to come in, and I wasn't happy with some stuff that was going on.
Where did you added like a man?
I said some stuff, and the next morning I walked into the hub, and this particular member who I had a good relationship for a long time, the things that I said, I never brought up his name specifically when I had something to say at the hall. I was calling out the old administration on some stuff. So I walk in, I'm sitting in my truck, and this member walks up to me and just starts motherfucking me. And
lube or no lube?
No lube.
No lube.
No, yeah. It was pretty rough. So I'm sitting there in my truck, and this member's just going off. Now, this particular member wasn't even there. I never brought up his name. So
he wasn't even at the meeting.
He wasn't at the meeting.
Didn't mention his name.
Didn't mention his name.
So someone had to be like, I think it's you.
This particular person in the administration told this member that night that I was talking shit on him, but I never had mentioned his name, right? But he knew who I was talking about. And it wasn't talking shit on him. There was some issues that needed to be addressed.
That's the thing. It's like,
right?
You're not
and
talking
I
shit,
aired it,
stating facts.
Yeah, and I aired it out at the hall. Okay. So I'm in the hub. This guy comes up to me. He starts yelling at me. I end up getting a workplace violence.
What?
And I'm sitting in my truck, and this guy's just going off on me. A matter of fact, Eric was there at the meeting, and he knew what I had said, and I didn't bring up any names. I get a workplace violence, and this is where I saw, in my opinion, where there was something going on because management wrote me up, said I was the aggressor when I was sitting in my truck, and this guy's motherfucking me. And I had to come to the hall and tell the administration, like, look, if I get terminated over this because I got written up for this, that had nothing to do. I didn't say anything in the workplace. I said it at the hall where it should be safe to say, I will come after you guys. And they sent me a certified letter. I think I talked about this before on the show. I still have it. I kept it. And they said, if anything results out of this write-up that you got, we'll fight for you. And I was like, this is bullshit. We all have a right to come to the hall and voice our concerns. We're one of the few locals that I know of where
Keep an open mic.
that we have an open mic. Other members that we've talked to and other locals say, oh, we don't do that.
Yeah.
And Eric's even brought it up, and he said,
Why not?
yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Transparency. I
It's
he
transparency.
Really has, left it open. He's transparent about stuff. I know
I
that
love
they
that
like to
about this.
twist. Well, there's some people that obviously don't want to see Eric succeed, but they try to twist a lot of information and make everything look bad. But, at the end of the day, Eric still will go out there and tell people what he's doing. He's not trying to hide anything.
Right.
He's, he still goes out there and, does the financial report and all that stuff. And, I got to commend him for that. I really do.
Yeah.
Definitely do.
Going back to what you were saying, every member should feel safe, whether they support this new administration or not, to come to the hall and voice their concerns.
Yeah.
Right?
That's our safe space.
Yeah, that's our safe space, and it should never be dragged into the workplace.
Yeah.
What we do or what we say at the hall.
Yeah.
That's horseshit.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I mean, years ago, before everything changed, that as a steward, it was hard. Obviously, I had to certify mail my grievances. For
That's
labor
just
charges.
fucking nuts.
For labor
That's
charges.
so insane.
I really got to give it to you.
We commend you for that.
That
You went above and beyond.
not just that you went above and beyond there, but that you stuck out and you were there for the members while you had no backup. That's fucking tough. Dude.
Yeah, the
That's
contract
tough.
language is vague. There was nothing in there for us really. You couldn't really even file a grievance for seniority because if you were to put the subsection for seniority on the grievance and you go and read what seniority applies to, it has nothing to do with work moves or nothing. It just applies to our vacation. Dude, that contract was so picked out. Everything was so picked out of it that, it was a shit show basically.
Yeah.
And I think I heard Emerson or John talk about they took some of the steward language that we have out of our contract for you guys.
Yeah.
And put it into the CVS contract.
Yeah.
And
now we have
Core
steward language.
yeah.
It's good for us. We needed
it's
it.
similar. I think they took some of our language,
Interesting.
steward's rights, and put it in there.
Yeah.
They changed a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, we basically reworded the whole contract in a sense, I guess. And
Great. Just got some minor adjustments for the next one, yeah.
Yeah, get rid of the foremans.
Get rid of that.
Dude, yeah,
The next thing.
And the
dude.
funny thing is a lot of those foremans, they come from the way it was years ago. They want it that way.
Older
Yeah, and just some of the bad things that were just going on in there. The business agent would never show up, and if he did show up, he'd sit in the corner and not try to talk to people, and management free for all. I think in there once. I don't know if you want to beep his name out, but
You're not saying anything bad. It's the truth.
yeah, he would come in and speak whatever he would want to speak, and that'd be once every 3 years.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Some of the members didn't even know. Some of the members didn't even know.
Yeah. I know I've mentioned that before, at least for the drivers at for UPS, they get all mad during election time. Cause for the old administration, they would never do anything for the membership, but there they always were during election time. They would show up,
Yeah.
Oh, speaking about doing stuff, I will say that Eric has tried to definitely do more things for the members. So when this airs, I believe the following week we're going to be bringing you guys breakfast burritos again at UPS because, look, UPS is 6 days a week right now, right? So most of the members can't make it to the general membership meeting that we have for
Our Christmas one.
And we understand that. It sucks. At the same time, it's in our bylaws. We can't just make a one-time exception to do the, we'd actually have to change the language. And if we did say we did it on Sundays, dude, there'd be people complaining that it's on Sundays.
Yeah,
I got to go to church when UPS does, because they do plan on going 7 days a week, then it's just going to be another thing. So, I think it was a good move for him to move it to Saturday, and it kind of gives a lot of people the opportunity. And we get it if you can't. And that's one of the reasons why I do the Teamster Tuesday over there, so we can pass out that information and kind of get these guys on the same page. But we understand. We really do. But, in lieu of you guys coming to the meeting, we're going to bring, the meeting to you. We're going to do some raffle stuff. And I really like the changes, man. I really do.
I love the changes.
December 17th.
Well, I don't know.
Put it up right now.
It's 2 different days.
Days?
It's 2 different days.
No,
We
I'm
have
talking
2
about the
buildings.
general membership meeting.
Oh yeah, the general membership meeting. But that week of the general membership meeting, we'll be bringing those guys some burritos.
Yeah.
And stuff.
And we understand there were some
Yeah.
people that are upset.
We 100% get it. I
know.
wish everybody could go, and it would be great. That being said, some of these operations, especially UPS right now, is a 6-day-a-week operation.
6 day weeks.
Period. And they will be 7 at some point. They've already said they got to keep up with the Joneses, right? So, if we moved it to Sunday, there would be another group of people that aren't happy with it as well. So it's just, you can't make everybody happy.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back to that, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
But he does definitely, Eric recognizes that and tries to take care of the members. He does. So yeah, I mean, I think we're good. Closing thoughts?
I'm good.
Savas? Go fuck yourself.
Oh, you beat me to it.
I got it in there first. I knew it.
You beat me to it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in again. We appreciate it always. Like I said, like we said at the beginning of the show, smash that like button. Please share. If you guys have Facebook, Instagram, whatever,
Right.
share
with all
the
members.
link. I hope we have a bunch of CVS guys watching. Now.
Yeah.
We definitely plan on bringing Gary back if he'll have us.
Oh, yeah.
And we plan on getting different CVS guys on here. I know we talked about some of the other guys.
Maybe
we're just
Alex.
gonna keep. Yeah.
I know you guys hit him. Asked
Yeah,
about
we
him.
were
we
looking
gotta
for
get-
him
yeah.
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Because he made a comment, and we'll save that comment at the meeting, and we all were like, "Wow."
We've been saying it the whole time.
Yeah, he made a comment that really hit home with us and what we're trying to do by even doing this show, and trying to get members involved. Because we know that everybody can't make it to the meetings, and we do this stuff.
Extra stuff.
Extra stuff.
Volunteering our
Extra
time,
stuff. Yeah.
family time.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, dude. Thanks for the stories. They're fun. Good episode.
Stories on there. Good
Like I
stories.
said, everybody, we appreciate you. Smash that like button, share, subscribe, please. It just helps us get more information, get that culture change that we're looking for.
Looking for that culture change.
Thank you. Savas, go fuck yourself. Have a good one.